You guys, you need a 10mm. My name is Tom, and thumbs up to the 10mm round. That's what this video is about. As you know, if you've been following the channel, I'm a huge 10mm buff. I've been talking about the 10mm for a good 8 years now, and we've got 8 10mm on the table. Some of my recommendations, there's some more out there. We're going to go through this briefly. I'm going to show you each gun close up and say this is what's great about it, and this was what the reasons are why you might like it. The 10mm, a semi-automatic with the ballistics of a .357 Magnum. So you're shooting a Magnum round out of a semi-automatic, especially if you use the right ammo. We're going to touch on that because you've got to have the right plus P high pressure round in the 10mm to take down any animal in North America. That's how powerful it is. Yes, it will take down a grizzly. The 10mm round, is it right for you? I've been saying yes. I've been saying yes. It's going to make a comeback. And I get all this communications back and forth with the manufacturers, and they're saying, you know what? You got something going on there. This is going back to 11, and then 12, and then 13. And then they all started jumping in and making their own. And I've got 8 here to go through. So let's talk about the 10mm round. Let's talk about which ammo you might want to use for self-defense. Here we go. If you're into 10mm, thumb up the video. And welcome to my friends to WeaponsEducation.com. This is going to be an exciting video, and I'm going to give you my list of what I think are some excellent 10mm choices for you. Let's start with this beautiful Iver Johnson. If you want details of each firearm, I've done a video on every firearm you're about to see. All you have to do, for instance, is Google Iver Johnson Weapons Education in the same search line, and then all the videos will come up. So we're not going to get too detailed into each gun, but I want to let you know, some of the basic highlights, and this is really kind of what I recommend. And I'll mention some others also in this video. But this Eagle XL is a 6-inch 1911, one of the highest end Iver Johnsons made. And when it comes to prices, you're going to want to research that yourself because prices change so regularly. I believe this is about $850, but you're going to want to check the prices. So I'm not going to get too close into prices on the video right now. I'm just showing you what's out there. If you like it, you research it. But this is a very, very high-end 1911, and you've got a ported barrel, and it's just one of my favorites. Zoom in close here, Tammy. You've got the owl on the grip, and I've spoke in detail about this gun on the video. Like I said, simply Google Iver Johnson Weapons Education, the same line. This happens to be the XL, the long one, the 6-inch. Okay, let's go to the next one and throw in your comments on what your favorite 10mm is and why. I mean, this is such a powerful weapon. Let's go to a Glock. Of course, we know the Glock 20. This is what I keep next to my bed, and it's one of my favorite Glocks. I've got numerous Glock 20s. I got the C at the time they made the C with the compensator on top, and in all these safety check guns. The reason why I keep this one next to my bed, well, it's got a lot of rounds, 14 or so, and I love this light and laser from PowerTac. It's designed for Glocks in specific. It'll fit any rail, but it's the brightest, most reliable rail light laser made. So I'll put the link below if you want to look at that PowerTac. It's on my store, this PowerTac. I have a very good relationship with them. So you got the Glock 20. You can also get the Glock 40, which is the largest. So you got the 6-inch 40, then you got the Glock 20, and this is right about 5 inches. And then I have a Glock 29 here, and I've got a number of Glock 29s. This is what I keep in my vehicles because I like the 10 millimeter so much, and I'm not too worried about the heat getting to them. You know, like these really fancy schmancy 1911s you're about to see here in a moment. I really like the 29 to keep in the car, or my wife actually shoots the 29 really well. She likes to carry the 29. It's a smaller package. And there you have the smaller Glock. So they make 3 10 millimeters, the 29, and then the next larger one is what I just showed you, the 20, and then they make the 40, which is the 6-inch. Yeah, that's for hunting. More accuracy, longer barrel, more velocity out of the round. But with the 10 millimeter, with the right ammo, and while we're talking about ammo, since the word came out of my mouth, Double Tap has always been the leader in 10 millimeter ammo. I know there's a couple of others out there that make plus P high pressure ammunition. But Mr. McNett, the owner of the company, who I know personally, I mean, this is his passion. He's a member of his company, he's a member of SAMI, and only the really high-end ammunition companies are members of that elite organization. And these handmade 10 millimeter high pressured rounds are real specs. So when you want to shoot something at 100 yards, if you're a hunter, you're going to have the velocity and the kinetic energy to take out your game if you're hunting. I mean, the 10 millimeter, I mean, Ted Nugent's got his name on Double Tap, and all of his ammunition is through Double Tap. So I recommend Double Tap for personal protection. They're monster hollow points. And that's the ammo you want. I use Double Tap for every gun I own, for personal self-defense. Let's move on to a different 10 millimeter. Now look at this, it's a revolver. So how do you get a semi-auto into a revolver? This is no longer made by Smith & Wesson, and I love my revolvers. Close it nicely, call the crane here. You don't want to smack in that cylinder, and then you can hear it click, and there's nothing like a revolver, right? And that really nice soft trigger once it's in single action. And this is a Smith & Wesson Model 310. It's the Night Guard, and it's very lightweight. It has a scandium frame. Now, like I said, Smith doesn't make it anymore, but you can find it out there. Just talk to your local gun shop, or you can hunt for it any fashion you desire. And this is how it works. You got what's called moon clips. Those of you who are new, it's this little plastic gadget. You see that there? Okay, so you put your semi-automatic ammo into this plastic, kind of like a speed loader, right? And you just drop in your ammo, and then you load it up, and you're ready to go. Boom, 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 and then you pop it out, and you have more. They're like speed loaders, but they're called moon clips, so you can shoot a semi-auto through a revolver. Now, I'll tell you, this 10 millimeter's got some kick. I think that's why Smith & Wesson might have done away with it, but they got a Hogue-style, really good, thick grip here. And for me, it's no big deal. I mean, I'm 6'5", and I can deal with the recoil on these guns. But for a lot of law enforcement at the time, I think there was just some who just didn't take to it too well. But this, if you can find one, I saw one on one of the websites, $700 used, 90% condition. Wonderful, wonderful 10 millimeter option. Probably something you didn't know about. 310 is the shorter one, and they make a 610 that's longer. So if you want a revolver 10 millimeter, there you go. With the Double Tap, you're shooting a cannon. Okay, well, let's go to something really well known. My very first gun. When I say well known, I mean well known to the whole entire United States and the world. Look at this Colt. Look at this Colt, a Delta Elite. Now, this is from the 80s. Are the Colt Delta Elites as good as the ones from the 80s? I'm going to start a whole controversy here. I'm going to say I'd rather have one from the 80s. As long as it's not totally, got 300,000 rounds to it or something. But either way, who cares? You can replace everything on the gun and make it new again. I love this gun, my very first gun, along with a Smith & Wesson 686 357 Magnum Revolver I got in the 80s. So the Colt does make the Delta Elite. It's a wonderful 10 millimeter, and it's a 1911. They don't make it this shiny nickel look anymore. Maybe they will in the future, but you've got this as an option. Let's move on to something else here. Randomly grabbing guns out of these 8. Okay, here's a Kimber. This is a beauty. I've got, as you know, if you've been following the channel, I've got a lot of Kimbers, maybe a dozen. This is my favorite. This is my favorite Kimber. My favorite Kimber. Reason why is, well, of course, it's a 10 millimeter. It's never failed on me, this gun. It is just, it just eats anything up, and it's high quality. I don't want to hear this plastic mainspring housing. I've never heard of a mainspring housing failing on a Kimber. But off of that, what's special about this, if the camera can pick it up, Tammy, zoom in, this finish, it does not shine during the day. It's called the Eclipse. That's the name of the gun. And it does not shine at night. It's really cool the way they did the slide and part of the frame there. Alright, so this is a great option. The Eclipse Custom 2 by Kimber. Okay? 1911. So remember, when you're getting into 10 millimeters, do you want to get into a 1911 or do you want to get into a non-1911, which would be a Glock or maybe a SIG P220? I don't have a P220. I'm just going to talk to you about it for a moment. But it's an excellent gun. It's about $1,500, the SIG. But it's got low... and I spoke to the guys at SIG. I mean, what are you doing making this P220 with only 8-9 rounds in it? So it's got low capacity for the rounds. But it's an excellent choice, the SIG. That's another one. And the Dan Wesson, while I'm thinking about it, the RZ, the Razorback, oh, that's a great option also. But it's like, so when you go from a $1,500 Kimber, what is this, $14, $15, and then maybe you want to jump up to a Dan Wesson, which is about $2,000. You know, the granddaddy of them all of 10 millimeters. So then we're going to look at something else here. You know, why do you have to spend so much money? Here's a rock-on Armory. Okay? And 4 1/4 commander size, 10 millimeter. I've done a video on it. I shot it. It's awesome. And this is the TACT TACT2. And it's got everything you want. It's going to run well. 1911s like to run clean. So every time you shoot them, be proficient at disassembling it, cleaning it, and putting it back together and lubing it. As a matter of fact, you might even see here close, because I shot this morning. It's still got some oil in there and stuff. I like to keep my 1911s lubed up. You might see some white lithium grease on this one in particular, because I know after shooting it this morning, I'm not going to shoot it for a while. So I put white lithium grease. That's just my own personal tip I do for specifically 1911s that aren't going to be shot for a long time. Don't use the WD-40 white lithium grease as a tip. It's garbage. There's a company called Nissan, not the Nissan car dealership. I don't think they're connected. But the Nissan white lithium grease is a good one. and you can get that on Amazon. And then you can just keep things lubed up. And then if you're not going to shoot something for a long time, there you go. But there, you know, this gun is what, $600-700 tops. You can get it for less. The Rock Island Armory. Okay. Now let's go to the big boy. Okay, the big boy that, oh, I've done a video on this and I got so excited, and I carry this in the shoulder holsters. The only way you want to carry a big giant revolver or a 10mm is with a shoulder holster. This is the Rock Island Armory, and this is model 52,000, double stack, 16 rounds. Now we're talking, right? 1911, 16 rounds. You've got your fiber optic front sights. You've got every option possible. You've got the rail. I've done a video on it. A lot of people purchased this gun from that video, and 100% of the feedback of the people who purchased this RIA said, "Thank you, Tom, because you really turned me on to a gun that I'll have the rest of my life." But how do I carry it? I can put it on my hip. It's too big. So guns like that I'm going to put a link to my leather company. This is for a 5.7, but look at the quality of the leather. Look at the thickness. This is a shoulder holster, and you're going to want to carry any of the guns I told you about with a shoulder holster is really my premier way to carry. And then you have your mags pointed towards your belly button and the weight's off your hip. Okay, so I'll put the link below for your convenience, and just take a look at the quality shoulder holsters and call before you order a shoulder holster. So there you go, 8-10mm. So everyone's gonna say, all right, Tom, what's your favorite? What's my favorite? Well, I bought them all, so they're all my favorites. Now we have two different types of guns. We've got a 1911, then I showed you some Glocks, non-1911 striker fired. I mentioned this SIG 220. I'll tell you, this RIA has got to be one of my favorites. The Ivor Johnson, I love it because the money it just doesn't break the bank, and that's a great two great choices: the Ivor Johnson or the Rock Island Armory 10mm. And to get yourself involved with shooting 10mm, the Kimber's good. It's pricey. It's $1,500. Love it. And the revolver's cool. It's great. It's a revolver, of course. It's scandium frame. It's lightweight. It's got a lot of recoil. You know, thinking back about the guns I just showed you, and of course the Glocks, spectacular. Striker fired, and you can't go wrong with the 29. You can't go wrong with the 20. You can't go wrong with the 40. The three different Glocks. You can't go wrong with it. Certainly, you can't go wrong with a damn Wesson, RZ. But you're talking about $2,000. If I were you, I think I'd get the double stack and just jump right into a 6-inch Rock Island Armory. That or the Ivor Johnson, because they're reasonably priced if you're jumping into the 10mm market. There you have it. I know I missed some others, a lot of others. Believe me, I know. I've been in the firearms industry. So you throw in your comments. I can't mention them all in one video. Which ones I missed, which ones you like. And let's talk 10mm talk, all right? Put this on any 10mm forum out there. Spread it on your Facebook. Ring the bell if you're subscribing. It's all good. I'm there for you guys, fighting for us in the Second Amendment and everything that's going on. And thank you for watching. Thumb up the video and tell a friend, all right? This is all good stuff. 10mm. You got to get one. All right, I'm just messing with you. Bye-bye.